I've been teaching here since 1998 when the high school started, and I was initially hired as a French instructor. I think that the motivation is like it's kind of three-pronged. One of them is for professional reasons. I feel like I have been teaching French for quite a while, and I feel very comfortable doing it. I think I'm relatively good at it. Um, and if I were to continue, and I will probably can come back and teach French again. But after I've been teaching for about 24 years now, and mostly the same thing. And anyone who has been teaching, or anyone who does a profession for a really long time, has a tendency to want to extend their skill set.
Right.
And so, in fact, most of the people I know have had perhaps two or three different professions since they began their careers. So I've been, I've been in the same place for a long time, doing relatively the same kinds of assignments. And about 6 years ago, I started teaching in other departments, and 6 or 8 years ago, and really enjoyed it. And so I wanted to continue to do that. I think I'd reached a point in my career where I had just kind of felt like I needed a change, and change would be good. When everyone always, not everyone, but often people say, get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And although I'm very comfortable in my current role, I think that I could continue to learn, and I think it's also part of the school mission for lifelong learning, and I think that changing disciplines is a way to achieve the same thing. I recently also went and got a second master's degree at Stanford, and
Can I ask in what?
it was in the humanities.
Okay.
So so it was about the intersection of philosophy and literature, and I wrote a master's thesis on which last year and defended it, and it just seemed like a good time to make a change. So I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. So there's professional reasons. There's also, I think, when you teach a foreign language, your interactions with students are obviously mediated by an idiom or a language that the students aren't really comfortable with. And so there's kind of a different dynamic that gets created. And although I think I have great relations with my students, having taught English, in courses in English, I felt like there's a kind of different way of communicating, different kinds of things you can talk about when you're teaching a subject in the student's own language. So I found that very enriching and interesting, and I've never really considered myself just a French teacher. I mean, I studied literature and cultural studies, so whether I'm teaching in English or in French, I feel like it's a really interesting experience. It feels kind of bittersweet. It was definitely difficult. I mean, I came here I moved to California to build the French program, and I think I was rather successful at it. I'd like to think I was, at least. But I don't think that it'll be a permanent thing. I think that I'll go back to teaching French eventually. I think ideally I'd like to teach in both departments. I think the transition will be fine. I know I've worked with my colleagues in the English department for many years now, and I've taught classes with them in the past. And so I don't have a lot of doubt about my ability to communicate the subject matter and to be an effective teacher. So I think it'll go pretty well.